of this contest. And in terms of Nottingham Forest's record against Arsenal, it is not a good one. Twice in 16 Premier League games, the Nottingham Forest managed to come away with victory against Arsenal, who have won their last 6 home games against Nottingham Forest by an aggregate score of 19-2. The Gunners are unbeaten in 14 games on home soil against Forest, winning 10 and drawing 4 since a 3-1 defeat back in March 1989. But it's Forest off to a positive start here. Out on the left-hand side is Hudson-Odoi. Gibbs White was looking to play the ball through century towards the box. It falls for Elliot Anderson, 25 yards out. Had 2 Arsenal players up against him. Here's Nico Williams being put under pressure by Eze. Plays it back towards Anderson. Anderson up against Gyökeres. Will play it back towards the path of Milenkovic inside his own half. Who's got the support of his defensive colleague Murillo. And he'll play it back in towards the possession of Matt Seltz. Here is Murillo, launches it forward beyond the halfway. The kind of direct sort of approach that we saw from Nuno Espirito Santo in his time in the Nottingham Forest hot seat, but that's going to fall all the way towards David Raya in the Arsenal goal, who had possession in the middle of their own half. Out on the far side is Gabriel, now in towards the path of Christian Mosquera for the Gunners. Now out towards the path of Gabriel again. We'll head it back towards David Raya, towards the edge of his own penalty area. Will play it out towards the centre into Martin Odegaard. Back to goal. Was being put under pressure by Elliot Anderson. Wasn't allowed to turn. Played it back in towards the possession of Timber. Odegaard has it again. Drifting from the right-hand side infield and then spraying the ball out towards the left. Here's Mikel Merino. Plays it forward towards Eze. Twisting, turning just beyond the halfway for Arsenal. Will play it back in towards the possession of Gabriel again. It will slow play down because Eberechi Eze has lost his boots on the halfway. But back on, and back Arsenal can move once again. And it is Eze who has 2 up against him, and 2 didn't quite go into 1 on that occasion. Forest win it back. Here's Gibbs White on the halfway. He's got Hudson-Odoi out towards his left. He's looking to find him, does find him, up against Julian Timber. 30 yards out from goal. Will play back towards the halfway. Gyökeres was making a watchful chase. It wasn't the cleanest of balls back towards Milenkovic, who does eventually pick it up. Will play it out towards the right-hand side into Nico Williams. Forward it goes along that right-hand channel where there was a little bit of a skirmish for the ball between Ricardo Caliafiori and Dan Ndoye. Caliafiori coming back up on his feet and regathering possession for Arsenal. Out towards the left side it goes. Merino towards Eze. Eze now towards the possession of Julian Timber on the halfway. On the right-hand side for Arsenal. Play back to... playing out to the right-hand side, but play will stop because Dan Ndoye is down on the ground and finding himself in a little bit of discomfort. And the first bit of work for down England, the referee, to do this afternoon. 4 minutes gone, and it's been a bright start for both sides. It's still Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 0 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Remember, we will have every 3 o'clock game for you, either live on our audio commentary service. We can keep up to date with live text commentary of every single match over the course of the afternoon and the weekend. We've got some big games for you tomorrow across Flash Score, where we will have the Manchester derby between Manchester City and Manchester United. Among the 3 o'clock games this afternoon, Bournemouth take on Brighton, Crystal Palace take on Sunderland, Everton are up against Aston Villa, Fulham up against Leeds, and Newcastle United against Wolves. 2 late games for you. West Ham United take on Spurs at the London Stadium, and then at 8 o'clock tonight we are at the G-Tech for Brentford against Chelsea. You can listen to both of those games here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Gyökeres back towards Mikel Merino. Odegaard back to goal, edge of the D in the centre. 2 up against him, look to play the ball for Merino. Is making a run towards the area, cleared away by Forest only as far as the halfway, where turning in possession was Gabriel. Out towards Odegaard. Odegaard finds Noni Madueke, right side edge of the penalty area, steps inside, cross goes in, left footed. It was almost glanced on inside the penalty area, but it was cleared away and picked up by Forest on this near side. Chasing down that left side was Callum Hudson-Odoi. Had 3 red shirts in front of him, and the ball will go out of play for Gunners' throw. 5.5 gone, goalless here between Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. Timber to take the throw in for Mikel Arteta's side, on the right-hand side in the middle of the Nottingham Forest half. Plays it short and infield towards the possession of Gabriel, who was shoved in the back. 2 hands in the back by Chris Wood. Arsenal free kick around about 30 yards out from the Nottingham Forest goal. A bit of a cynical one, that, from Chris Wood. Knew exactly what he's doing, shove in the back. And down in England with perhaps the easiest award of a free kick that he's going to give this afternoon. 2 over it for the Gunners. Odegaard and Gabriel, the 2 players looking over this particular set piece. And Gabriel is going to leave it for Odegaard to swing into the area. Forest leave a high line towards the edge of the 18-yard penalty area. 6.5 minutes gone. You're listening to Arsenal against Nottingham Forest. Goalless so far here on the Flash Score live audio commentary service. And an early set-piece chance for Arsenal. Odegaard's going to deliver it left-footed around about 25 yards out from goal. From the right-hand side, in towards the penalty spot. It's fallen loose to Mikel Merino. Big save for Matt Seltz. Comes back out to Madueke. Hooked back towards Timber. Odegaard looks to get there. Forest still can't clear their lines. Anderson will try and get it away, but eventually it is cleared towards the half, where Dan Ndoye was looking to make a counter-attacking one. It's cleared away in the end by Arsenal, but there was chaos inside the penalty area. It was a big save from Matt Seltz in the Forest goal, and Arsenal look to get going again. They have a player on the deck as Gyökeres couldn't quite get onto the ball on the right-hand side. Play will stop with Martin Odegaard, the Arsenal skipper, down on the deck, but Matt Seltz, the Forest goalkeeper, joined into a key, pivotal early save. It was a good free kick delivered in by Martin Odegaard. It fell towards the path of Mikel Merino inside the 6-yard box. A side-footed, right-footed effort towards the near post, but Matt Seltz making himself big and managing to get something to the effort. And then Martin Odegaard tumbling over Morgan Gibbs White, which is why he's down on the ground receiving treatment at this present moment in time. Well, Arsenal's 4-match winning Premier League run came to an end with their defeat to Liverpool on match day 3. The Gunners haven't lost consecutive games in this competition since December 2023. A side that for the last few years have been knocking on the door of the Premier League title, second in each of the previous 3 campaigns. There is a sense, though, around the Emirates and amongst the wider footballing public that this year, new sense, has to be the year for Mikel Arteta to deliver a trophy of some substance. And what isn't going to aid the cause is seeing his captain Martin Odegaard down on the deck, clutching his right shoulder. The medic on the pitch clutching his radio and sending messages back towards the dugout. Doesn't look too good. Looks in some considerable pain here, does Martin Odegaard. Arsenal do have a corner, of which they're so good and so effective from. 33 goals from corners since the beginning of last season, 13 more than the next best sides in Liverpool. And it's going to be Noni Madueke who's going to deliver this set piece. Scored his first England goal in Belgrade on Tuesday night in England's 5-0 victory over Serbia. And he's looking to help the cause for his club here. It's going to be a left-footed delivery, outswinging delivery from this set piece. And in towards the near post it went, and it was glanced wide by Gabriel, who made a darting run in towards the 6-yard box. Couldn't quite get a clean connection behind his headed effort, and it goes wide off the right-hand post by around about 3 or 4 yards. 9.5 gone. Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 0 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score live audio commentary service. Already a goal in one of the early games in the Championship this afternoon. Oxford United at the Kazan Stadium lead Leicester City by a goal to nil. Remember, goal updates from across the EFL this afternoon can be found by downloading the Flash Score app and clicking the goal notification feature. Here's Merino in the centre for Arsenal. Out to Madueke on the right-hand side. Heavy first touch trying to get past Morato. And then Murillo is able to shield the ball off to see it go out of play for a Nottingham Forest goal kick as we pass the 10-minute mark here at the Emirates Stadium. Well, Arsenal began the day third in the Premier League table and won 2 of their opening 3 matches. Only Chelsea and Liverpool had picked up more points than them prior to the first international break. As for Nottingham Forest, they kicked off mid-table, 10th in the league, having picked up 4 points on their opening 3 matches of the season. And as far as Postecoglou's first few games as far as manager are concerned, we'll talk about that in just a second, because they actually find themselves on the ball here. Is Ndoye towards the edge of the area on the right hand side. Cross goes in towards the near post. It was low drilled on his right foot, but it's a comfortable take for David Raya in the Arsenal goal as he makes his 100th appearance for the Gunners this afternoon. Ndoye with a low drill cross in on his right foot towards the near post, but nobody really anticipating that running towards the penalty area, and so a comfortable take in the end by David Raya between the sticks for the Gunners. Here's Gabriel losing out almost to Ndoye, but manages to keep himself on his feet and just about keep possession. The ball ahead out, Arsenal throw on the left-hand side, 5 yards inside Nottingham Forest's half. As far as Forest are concerned, looking at their upcoming matches, they face Swansea in the League Cup in midweek, before then Burnley away in the Premier League, and then they get their Europa League campaign underway, away to Real Betis. Of course, Ange Postecoglou picking up that title for Tottenham last season, and we hope for similar success with Forest. It's Madueke though on the right-hand side, managed to get his way past Morato, chips the ball in towards the back post. Marino is making a darting run towards there, couldn't make a connection. The ball stays in play, and Nico Williams will clear it on this far side for Nottingham. The last touch coming off the Arsenal number 20 for Nottingham Forest throw on this near side. Around about second and third in the top three amongst players in that metric. And here's Madueke dancing again inside the side in towards the penalty area. 22 minutes gone. Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Looking for goal number 34 from set pieces since the beginning of last season. Madueke's corner towards the back post, glanced away as far as Wanyeri, who strikes it through the lace of his left foot in amongst the wall of Nottingham Forest bodies. Comes back out towards the path of Zubimendi. Fizzes the ball in right-footed towards the penalty. A cross-channel ball headed away by Forest, and Ndoye will bring it down. We're going to get the better of Eze. Calafiori came in to stop his advances. Forest throw right side, middle of the half that they're defending. 23 minutes gone. Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Well, there has been a goal at Deepdale. Preston North End taking on Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough with the only unblemished record so far in the EFL. 4 games, 4 wins. But it is Preston who have taken a 1-0 lead. Lewis Dobbin with the goal, and the league leaders trail for the first time this season. Preston North End 1, Middlesbrough 0, Charlton 0, Millwall 0, and Oxford United 1, Leicester City 1 scores in the 3 12:30 kickoffs in the Championship this afternoon. Zubimendi committing a foul on the halfway here at the Emirates for Arsenal. Forest free kick. And about 5 yards inside the Arsenal half, just off centre towards the right-hand side. I'll tell you more about the Preston goal at Deepdale in just a second. Here's Murillo, who's going to take this free kick for Nottingham Forest. Not after Darren Ingles to sort out some jiggery pokery in terms of some pushing and shoving in the Nottingham Forest wall. As we approach the 25-minute mark, Arsenal 0, Forest 0. Murillo with his free kick for Forest. Floated in left-footed towards the edge of the penalty area. Glanced away by Julian Timber, with Morato causing him some problems. Ball goes out. Forest throw on the left. Around about 25 yards out from the Arsenal goal. More defensive work for Mikel Arteta's side to do. Taken short in towards the path of Elliot Anderson by Morato. On the halfway he is. Back towards Milenkovic now to Murillo, who will play the ball back towards the possession of Matt Seltz, who will launch it forward, right-footed beyond the halfway in the middle of the Arsenal half. Chested down by Chris Wood, back to goal, being kept touch tight by Mosquera. Hudson-Odoi back into the path of Anderson. Madueke shoves into the ground, and it's going to be the Nottingham Forest free kick on the left just beyond the halfway, taken quickly. Anderson towards the path of Sangare, and then Hudson-Odoi out towards Gibbs White. Gibbs White looking to find Nico Williams. Does well to try and get the ball back in towards play. He was unable to do so in the end from the dead ball line, and the ball will head out of play for a goal kick to be taken by David Wright. 25 minutes gone. Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 0 in this early 12:30 Premier League kickoff here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Well, plenty of action taking place across the EFL this afternoon as we pass the 25-minute mark. And there has been a red card at the Kazan. We'll tell you more about that in a second, because Arsenal broken away here. Marino on the left-hand side. Edge of the penalty area. Sangare slips. And so Marino being afforded a little bit more space here. Going to turn past his man. Elects to play it back towards Gabriel on the halfway. Here's Mosquera inside the centre circle towards Gabriel. Mosquera once again for the Gunners. Everybody behind the ball for Nottingham Forest and inside their own half, camped inside their own half. Here's Wanyeri being shoved by Anderson, but still keeps a hold of the ball. And in terms of possession in this game, 63% to Arsenal in comparison to the 37% of Nottingham Forest so far in this contest. 26.5 minutes gone here at the Emirates, and it is Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 0 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary. Here's Ranieri forward towards Madueke. On Yeri again towards Zubimendi in space on the right hand side. Drives inside, edge of the penalty out towards Eze. Inside the box, heavy first touch, but brings it on his right foot. Tried to take an effort, has a shot on goal. It took a deflection, and a play will go for an Arsenal throw on the right hand side. It was Ndoye who got the timely block for Forest. And it will be a Arsenal throw taken by Julian Timber, right hand side, 25 yards out from goal. Play back towards Mosquera on the halfway. Infield it goes in towards the possession of Mikel Merino. Merino towards Ranieri with Calafiori out on the left hand side, being put under severe pressure by Elliot Anderson, who was having a couple of nibbles of the Arsenal man. Eze back towards Merino. Merino towards the path of Mosquera inside the centre circle for the Gunners. Looking up, trying to assess his options, and plays it out towards the path of Julian Timber. Gets on the inside of Hudson-Odoi, out towards Zubimendi. Gyökeres, heavy first touch on his right foot. Soft any advances for him, but here's Madueke picking up the loose second ball. Gyökeres looking to hook it back from the dead ball line. Last touch comes on Murillo. Arsenal corner on the right-hand side. 27.5 gone, 0-0. Again, Arsenal patiently building play up here, and another set piece for Ange Postecoglou's Nottingham Forest to defend. It's going to be Noni Madueke to take again on this right-hand side. It's going to be another left-footed, out-swinging delivery from him. And again, the big bodies load up the back post. Madueke's corner, swung in left-footed to the near post, glanced on and just over the bar. Arsenal want a second corner, they're going to get a second corner. It was Julian Timber with a headed attempt on goal, came off a Nottingham Forest body. And Arsenal will get a second crack from a corner kick. It was a decently delivered ball in. Timber with the attempted header, and it was Ibrahim Singare who managed to get the telling head to knock it just over the top of the frame of the crossbar. And a timely intervention it was as well, as Madueke takes another corner for us on this right side. Another out-swinging left-footed delivery from him. 29 gone. Arsenal 0, Forest 0 here on Flash Score. Madueke's corner, swung in towards the back post again. Flicked away again by Forest, but it's going to fall loosely for Madueke second time on his right side. Floats it in, left-footed this time. Punched away by Sells. Arsenal corner this time on the left. As we approach the half-hour mark, and Forest having to put all hands towards the defensive pump here. And on the left side, it's going to be Ebere Eze to take this corner. He's going to swing it in right-footed. It's going to be him to take it. It is going to be an in-swinging delivery towards the back post, punched away by Sells. It's going to be picked up loosely second time by Madueke, who has got Ndoye up against him, gets the beating of him towards the dead ball line, still going, plays it back. Timber couldn't quite get a strike away, and that was because Murillo managed to get a timely touch to the ball to see it away from his path and out for yet another Arsenal corner. Madueke puts Ndoye on toast and then plays it back towards the path of Timber, who tried to get a strike from inside the 6-yard box away on his right foot, but Murillo dangled his right leg out and managed to clear the ball away from his sight just in the nick of time. And it's going to be another Arsenal corner here on the right-hand side, but Murillo maybe, perhaps unsurprisingly, has done himself a little bit of a disservice by going for that particular ball, moving rather gingerly inside the 6-yard penalty areas. Madueke once again being given the corner responsibilities for Arsenal. On the right side again as we approach the 31st minute here at the Emirates. Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 0, the score here at the Emirates in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Madueke to take this corner. Young goes up. The ball goes in left-footed. Swung in towards the back post. Across the 6-yard area. Flicked away. And it's far! And Zubimendi, who strikes it right-footed from the edge of the D on the volley. In towards the top right-hand corner to give Arsenal the lead. What a strike from Martin Zubimendi. And what a way to get, for him, a first Arsenal goal. 31 and a half minutes gone. The deadlock broken, and broken in some style by Martin Zubimendi. The corner swung in, flicked away towards Zubimendi, edge of the D, strikes it cleanly through the laces on the volley, right-footed in towards the roof of the net. An absolute thunderbolt from the Spaniards to give Arsenal the lead here at the Emirates. Nottingham Forest, who have been so stout defensively, dealt with every single set piece, could not deal with a loose ball. And there's no goalkeeper in the world that was going to deal with that strike for Martin Zubimendi. Such a clean strike, such a clean finish. And some way to announce his Emirates arrival. Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Martin Zubimendi with a worldie of a strike. And Murillo now for Nottingham Forest finds himself down on the deck. Much to the worry of Nottingham Forest, who have just found themselves a goal down here at the Emirates. Does give both sets of managers an opportunity to go over their team talks. Now remember, the Champions League is back this week, and Flash Score will have a number of key games for you. It'll begin on Tuesday with the early game between Athletic Bilbao and Arsenal. We'll also have Liverpool against Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich against Chelsea, Newcastle against Barcelona, Manchester City against Napoli. One of a number of games we'll have for you across the 3 days of Champions League action on the first week back in the competition in the 2025-26 season. We're looking forward to bringing that competition to you once again here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary. So it does give us an opportunity to tell you what's happening across the EFL this afternoon. 3 early games in the Championship. Charlton 0, Millwall 0, Oxford United 1, Leicester 1, and Preston 1, Middlesbrough 0. A couple of early games in both Leagues 1 and 2. In League 1, Bradford City having a good start to life back in the third tier, leading Huddersfield Town by a goal to 0, and Northampton Town 0, Blackpool 0 at Sixfields. White in League 2, Accrington Stanley lead Colchester by a goal to 0, and Crawley Town a goal up on Cheltenham. You can keep up to date with all the goals from across the EFL this afternoon by downloading the Flash Score app. It's available on the Apple App Store or Google Play. Wherever you get your apps from, you can download the goal notification service, and you'll get the goals from across the Football League this afternoon directly to your phone first by downloading the Flash Score app to your applicable device. So, final 10 minutes of this first half. Arsenal breaking the deadlock, and breaking it in some style. Some strike by Martin Zubimendi in the 31st minute. In fact, I can give you a correction, because that Crawley goal against Cheltenham Town has actually been ruled out, so it's still 0-0 in that game there in Sussex as we approach the final 10 minutes of the first half here at the Emirates, as Murillo comes back onto the pitch for Nottingham Forest. Here's Calafiori, left-hand side towards the edge of the penalty area, plays it back in towards the path of Gabriel, who tries to swing it in left-footed with both on the area, and Gyökeres lurking inside the box. Murillo moving rather gingerly. I'd be surprised if he plays much more of a part here this afternoon for Nottingham Forest. He's already been able to get into a jog. He's already been able to walk the last couple of minutes, if the truth be told. But he's still trying to put his body on the line for this Nottingham Forest team, and the change is going to be made, perhaps unsurprisingly. Ball goes in towards the area, glanced away, it falls second time to Zubimendi. So strike one again on his right foot, edge of the D, but this one just going over the bar, not by much. But Martin Zubimendi most certainly equating himself to this Emirates crowd this afternoon. It's another really good strike on the volley. Strikes it cleanly through the laces on his right foot, and that only trickled a couple of yards over the bar as Murillo goes down again, and that's surely going to be a signal as to the end of his afternoon for Nottingham Forest. 26 gone, Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Reminder of what's coming up this afternoon in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service at 3 o'clock. Bournemouth take on Brighton, Crystal Palace take on Sunderland, Everton are up against Aston Villa. Fulham take on Leeds. Newcastle against Wolves as Forest make the change. Murillo's going to head off, and Nicolo Savona will come on in his place. You could just tell that his race was run. As much as he was trying to put his body on the line for his side, you just knew it was going to be an effort which in the end was going to cause him more harm than good, and Forest would rather, with the busy schedule ahead of a League Cup tie in the week and a Europa League campaign getting underway next Thursday, they'd rather sacrifice him now than lose him for any longer than they need to. They do win a free kick 10 yards inside the Arsenal half as Murillo trudges towards the dugout and towards the dressing rooms here at the Emirates. Anderson to take this free kick for Nottingham Forest, just off centre towards the left-hand side, 10 yards inside the Arsenal half. Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0, the score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Here's Anderson's free kick, cleared away by Eze, who then went down under the challenge of Milenkovic towards the edge of his penalty area. It's going to be a free kick to Arsenal, and they can just quell the Forest pressure from the set piece as Murillo gets a warm embrace for his manager Ange Postecoglou as he heads back down the tunnel. Here's Eze looking it back towards Marino, out towards the path of Gyökeres on the left hand side, 25 yards out from goal for Arsenal, back towards Gabriel on the halfway for Mikel Arteta's side. Here's Mosquera in possession, Calafiori out towards the path of Gabriel once again, who drives beyond the halfway on this far side for the Gunners, back towards Zubimendi, who has been the difference maker in this game so far. His strike in the 31st minute, the difference between the two teams here at the Emirates. Raya's kick goes long and out towards the right hand side. I'm going to find Madueke. That ball's going to go out for Nottingham Forest throw. Busy afternoon of action in the EFL Championship this afternoon. It began last night, the weekend's action, with a 5-0 win for Ipswich Town against Sheffield United, whose manager Ruben Selles is under severe pressure now. I'll tell you about the 3 o'clock games in a second, because here's Ndoye for Forest. Right hand side, looks to play across him, but his right footed delivery into the box was way off target and way off the pace of Chris Woods, who's good but not that good. But a busy afternoon in the Championship. These are the 3 o'clock games. Coventry City take on Norwich City, Sheffield Wednesday up against Bristol City, Stoke City take on Birmingham City, Swansea City against Hull City, Watford up against Blackburn, West Brom take on Derby County, and Wrexham take on Queen's Park Rangers. Goal updates from those games you can hear during our 3 o'clock commentaries this afternoon on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Alternatively, the quickest way to get the goals straight to your phone is by clicking on the goal notification service on the Flash Score app. You can do exactly the same with EFL's Leagues 1 and 2 this afternoon. Here's Ndoye in space on the right hand side, driving towards the edge of the area against Calafiori, making an underlapping run with Savona, but it was watched out of play by Mikel Marino, and there'll be some defensive duty for Arsenal to do as Forest win a corner on this right hand side as we head into the final 5 minutes of the first half here at the Emirates. Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0, the score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Forest with a corner on this right hand side. It's going to be Elliot Anderson, I think it is, to take. Yes, it is. Anderson's made that run out towards that far side. He's going to swing it in, right footed. An in-swinger from him. And it's swung in towards the 6-yard box. It's cleared away by Gabriel. It's going to fall for Sangali, who will play it back towards Nico Williams on the halfway. Eze keeping chase, back to Sells, out to Williams, who looks to build the Forest attack on this left-hand side. Drives past Eze, but now has to stop and turn and play the ball back towards the possession of Morato. Here's Nico Williams, forward it goes, and it's a direct ball in towards the path of Ndoye. Raya skips back towards goal, forced out wide though by Mosquera. Here's Callum Hudson-Odoi here for Nottingham Forest, 2 in red up against him, back towards Nico Williams. Now Hudson-Odoi towards Elliot Anderson, play back towards the half. Anderson again in the centre, lays it out towards the left-hand side, but mopped up by Mosquera. Madueke loses out to Anderson. Anderson with Marino in his grill. Plays it back towards Sangari. Now Hudson-Odoi for Nottingham Forest. Sangari to Hudson-Odoi again. Plays it out towards Nico Williams. Edge of the penalty on the left-hand side with Donny Madueke keeping him company. Back towards Hudson-Odoi again, but the pass on his right foot through to Nico Williams across that left-hand side too heavy. Forest think that there was an Arsenal touch en route to the ball going out of play. But the decision from Darren England and his assistants is a Arsenal goal kick as we approach the final 3 minutes of the opening period here. There has been a goal in one of our championship games. That's at the Valley, the London derby between Charlton and Millwall, and it's Charlton 5 minutes from half-time who had taken the lead against Millwall there. 1-0 to the Addicts, and you can get updates of that game across the Flash Score app this afternoon. Gyökeres out towards Calafiori on the halfway on this left-hand side, up against Ndoi. He was going to play it forward towards Eze, but couldn't quite thread that pass forward. The ball head out for a Nottingham Forest throw. Final 2.5 minutes of normal time in this first half. Here's Sangari in possession for Forest, driving down this far side in space. Played it towards the path of Chris Wood, who played it back into his path, but losing out. Here's Zubimendi towards Julian Timber in spades, out towards Madueke, right side, edge of the penalty area. Noni Madueke steps inside, 2 up against him, but in the end, Elliot Anderson was able to stop him in his tracks, stood tall, won the ball back, and will begin the move for Forest. Being penned into the edge of his own penalty area, plays it back towards Morato, who will launch it upfield towards the halfway. We catch it by Mosquera, but only temporarily. Gives White out towards the path of Ndoi, who's on his bike and gathers it on the right side. Making an overlapping run is Nico Williams. But still, here's Ndoi with Eze close by. Back now in towards the path of Sangari. Here's Gibbs White again, the Nottingham Forest captain, towards Ibrahim Sangari. Short towards Ndoi. Back to the path of Milenkovic. Morato as Forest move the ball back towards the halfway, and now back to the inside of their own half. And Milenkovic was thinking about going back to the goalkeeper, but plays it along the line towards Morato. Forward it goes. To the door, back to goal, and 2 players up against him, and he was brought down to the ground. It was a telling touch by Zubimendi, or a telling tug, shall I say, by Zubimendi that brought into the deck. Forest free kick to be taken by Hudson-Odoi on the half, just off centre towards the left. Here's Nico Williams towards Hudson-Odoi again here for Nottingham Forest. They're going to find an outlet. Anderson with 2 up against him again. Gives White back to goal. Out towards Nico Williams. Good touch by Hudson-Odoi. Wasn't the cleanest pass through to him, but manages to keep a hold of it. Here's Williams, edge of the area on the left-hand side. Cross goes in, left foot, it comes off of Julian Timber, and Nottingham Forest will have themselves a throw on the left-hand side, right by the corner flag on this near side. Final 30 seconds of normal time in the opening period here at the Emirates. Nico Williams to take a throw in for Forest. In towards the box it goes. Gibbs White turning back to goal. Cleared away by Timber. It's going to be left by Callum Hudson-Odoi for another Forest throw. Taken short to Anderson. Hudson-Odoi again. Back in towards the possession of Milenkovic. Now here's Morato. Anderson turns in the centre, gets the better of Zubimendi, looks to play it infield towards Chris Wood. Anderson picks it up second time, evading the change of Marino. Here's Gibbs White in towards Wood, looks to fight Gibbs White, has a strike right footed, was knocked off balance by Julian Timber, who managed just to give him a little bit of a shove of the ball as he struck that effort on his right foot. Goes around about 3-4 yards wide of goal as we enter the first of 7 stoppage time minutes at the end of the first half here at the Emirates. Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0. The score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service, and the best chance Forest have had in this first half coming from Morgan Gibbs White. You have just joined us, it's Martin Zubimendi's goal in the 31st minute. There's a difference between the two sides. A superb strike on the volley, right footed from the edge of the tee in towards the roof of the net. It's certainly one to mull over when watching Match of the Day later on this evening, that's for sure. As we enter a truncated period of stoppage time at the end of the opening period. It's been a really good watch this. It was expected. 2 sides that really like to play on the front foot. But in terms of the match stats, it's been all Arsenal. 10 attempts compared to 1. 3 shots on target from Mikel Arteta's side. Ange Postecoglou's Forest yet to have 1 on target in this opening period. It's been all Arsenal really in an attacking sense. But they've only got a 1-goal lead. So they're looking to extend here. Calafiori on the right. Out towards Madueke towards the edge of the penalty area, being put under pressure by Nico Williams. Madueke brings it inside, crosses the ball in left-footed, glanced away before finding anybody on the penalty spot. And Mosquera picking up the loose second ball. Will play it back in towards the path of David Raya. Here's Mosquera again for Arsenal. Beyond the halfway is Calafiori. Back towards the path of Julian Timber. Madueke being put under pressure by Nico Williams and Anderson. And then Hudson-Odoi has been forced back around about 15-20 yards. Timber back towards Mosquera again for Arsenal in the middle of his own half. Zubimendi towards Mosquera again. And now Wanieri turning past Anderson. Sprays it out to the left-hand side. Too heavy for Eze to pick up. Cleared away by Savona. Going to be a Arsenal throw on the left-hand side, around about on the halfway, around the centre circle. There's been another goal at the Kazam. Oxford United have re-established their lead by 2-1. It's a Mario goal in the 44th minute, giving Oxford United a re-established lead at the Kazan Stadium. You can keep up to date with all the goals across the EFL this afternoon by downloading the Flash Score app, available on the Apple App Store and Google Play. And we'll keep you up to date with all the EFL 3 o'clock commentaries and our 3 o'clock Premier League commentaries, and goals from Leagues 1 and 2 can be accessed first by downloading the Flash Score app. Timber to Madueke on this right side. Up against Nico Williams, has been pulled from the right side to the left side, with Savona moving out to the right and Milenkovic and Morato providing the central defensive partnership now for Forest. Here's Eze up against Savona, brings it back towards the dead ball line. Gyökeres inside the 6-yard box, tried to poke the ball, goal bound on his right foot, could only steer it wide by around about 4 yards of the left-hand post. Another opening for Arsenal. Patient build-up play. Eze managing to get it through the legs of Milenkovic towards Gyökeres, who came sliding in towards the near post. Couldn't quite control it with his right foot as Mikel Arteta uses a Sharpie pen to note that down on his notepad, maybe amongst one of the talking points to say to his players in his half-time team talk in around about 3.5 minutes' time. Arsenal lead Nottingham Forest by 1-0 here at the Emirates. Martin Zubimendi's goal in the 31st minute, the difference between the two sides, as Sells launches his ball forward. That's on by Marino. One back by Savona, who couldn't quite keep a established hold of the ball. Will head out of play for an Arsenal throw on the halfway line. Out on the far side. As we look at proceedings, we are looking at it with the clock end to the right of us. Sorry, to the left of us, shall I say, here at the Emirates this afternoon. 49.5 minutes of this first half, 7 minutes added on, so we've got about 2.5 minutes of first half stoppage time remaining here at the Emirates, with the score Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0. And it is Arsenal who have dominated this game pretty much from the first kick, who had possession in the middle of their own half. It's Mosquera with it, and will launch the ball out, fizzing it out to the left side, brought down by Eze on his right foot up against Savona, but the flag goes up for offside against the Arsenal number 10, which for a lot of people around the Emirates is their cue to head to the refreshments and the concessions around the Emirates Stadium. Here's Williams back in towards the path of Morato, launches it forward towards the halfway. Timber heads it on, but Hudson-Odoi will pick it up on the halfway. Here's Sangari out towards Odoi, this time on the left. Williams making an underlapping run if he wants him. Odoi towards the edge of the area with two in red up against him, plays it back to Gibbs White, twists, turns around about 30 yards out from goal in the centre for Forest. 3 red shirts against him. Here's Williams, brings it inside towards Callum Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi to Ndoi. I mean, it's Calafiori who manages to get a touch, but Gibbs White wins it back for Forest. Here's Nico Williams again towards Morgan Gibbs White. Plays it back towards Elliot Anderson for Nottingham Forest. Anderson towards the path of Milenkovic. Sangari towards Milenkovic again. Played out towards the path of Savona for Nottingham Forest. Here's Elliot Anderson. Fizzes the ball on his right foot out to the left-hand side. Chested down by Hudson-Odoi well towards the edge of the box. Gets the beating of Madueke. Gets past Calafiori. Lays it out towards Anderson, who then played the ball on the floor across the penalty area, but the linesman on the far side puts his flag up indicating a foul in and amongst the move. Just having a look at the potential incident. It was Chris Wood who shoved to the ground Julian Timber. As we have a look at a replay on our monitor, that's the discretion which is giving Darren England the call to stop that attack in its tracks. Final few seconds of stoppage time at the end of this first half. Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Martin Zubimendi's goal in the 31st minute, the difference between the two sides. Ball flicked away by Forest in the middle of their own half. On the halfway it is. Loose, flicked on by Calafiori, but that will be the final action of the first half. And a scratch of the head for Marouane Postecoglou, the Nottingham Forest manager, whose side defensively has stood up to the task that Arsenal provided them so well, but were beaten by a moment of brilliance. Martin Zubimendi with a volley from the edge of the D, right footed in towards the roof of the net in the 31st minute. That the difference between the two sides. Arsenal have been well on top in this game, and they have a rightful lead at half-time at the Emirates. It's What a strike it was as well from the Spaniard, opening up his account for the Gunners with a superb volley from the edge of the penalty area, struck into the roof of the net. David just making sure a full complement of players are on the pitch before we get underway for this second half. Our first Premier League commentary of the weekend here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary shows. Have a number of games to come at 3 o'clock and then 2 late games on this Saturday evening. But it's Arsenal to get us back underway, attacking the right to left of us in this second half, leading by that goal to nil against Nottingham Forest. I'll say that strike from Martin Zubimendi, the difference between the two teams in this contest. Having a look at the 2-11s then. Arsenal, Raya, Timber, Mosquera, Gabriel, Calafiori, Monieri, Zubimendi, Marino, Madueke, Gyökeres and Eze. Forest, Sells, Williams, Milenkovic, Savona, Morato, Sangari, Anderson, Ndoye, Gibbs-White, Hudson-Odoi and Woods. As we get underway for this second half, it's Arsenal in possession. They absolutely dominated the first half. They dominate possession. They had double figures in terms of chance of goal. And they're in here at the beginning of the second half. Eze finds it across. Gyökeres! Perfect start to the second half for Arsenal. And it was Route 1 football from the Gunners, which have doubled their lead. Long ball over the top, in towards the path of Eze, in space on the left-hand side, fires the ball across the face of the penalty area, in towards the path of Victor Gyökeres, who struck the ball from inside the 6-yard box into the bottom of the net to double Arsenal's lead. Minute after the restart, Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0. And it was that long ball from Calafiori towards the path of Eberete Eze. Onside, I think just. It's very tight between him and Nicola Savona. But he got the better of him. Fired the ball across the face of the penalty area towards Victor Gyökeres, who struck the ball through the side of his right foot past Matt Sells into the net. And to double Arsenal's lead here at the Emirates Stadium immediately after the restart. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0. And for Ange Postecoglou, who in his time as Tottenham Hotspur boss was unable to beat Arsenal, it looks like that wretched record's going to continue as manager of Nottingham Forest as things stand. The perfect start to the second half for Arsenal. Victor Gyökeres on the score sheet. For him, a third Premier League goal of the season to double the Arsenal advantage. We are just awaiting confirmation of that goal from VR. That confirmation now confirmed. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Premier League goal number 3 for Victor Gyökeres, which temporarily puts him alongside Erling Haaland at the top of the Premier League goal scorers list in the 2025-2026 season. And for a lot of the Arsenal fans who have made their way from the concessions back out to the stands of the second half, there's a fair chunk of them that would have missed that Victor Gyökeres goal right from the get-go here at the Emirates. Here's Savona in possession. Forest having to come back from 2-0 down, and Ange Postecoglou's half-time team talk script has been completely ripped up here at the Emirates as Arsenal double their advantage. Sells knocks a long ball forward beyond the halfway, glanced on by Mikel Merino. It's one back though by Elliot Anderson, back in towards the path of Morato. Over the top it goes towards Hudson-Odoi on the left-hand side, edge of the penalty area with Julian Timber keeping in close company. Hudson-Odoi being grappled by the Arsenal number 12, who wins possession back, but fairly in the eyes of the referee Darren England. Does lose possession though on the halfway. Here's Elliot Anderson back in towards the path of Ibrahim Sangari. Now out towards Morato. Now Morgan Gibbs-White in possession for Nottingham Forest, twisting, turning, looking to find a colleague on the left side. Does fall for Elliot Anderson just beyond the half now. Sangari out towards the possession of Savona, the substitute at the break. Here's Ndoye, 1-2 between Sangari. Ndoye slips the ball through the penalty area, right-footed, loads your delivery in towards the box, but sliding in towards the near post was Gabriel to knock the ball out of play for a Nottingham Forest corner on the right-hand side. 4 minutes of this second half gone. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0. The score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. It's going to be Elliot Anderson to take. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinging delivery from the right-hand side. Everybody queues up towards the penalty spot for Forest. It does almost find the header, Chris Wood, but headed away by Mosquera for Arsenal. Launched back in by Williams. Flicked down by Gabriel. One back by Savona, but then recovered by Nieri, who loses that again, but Marino will bail his teammates out of jail there. Clears the ball away, still pinball towards that corner. Timber looking to get it free towards Madueke, who backheels it towards the path of Ranieri, unable to get it further upfield, and Forest to win possession back. 5 minutes after the restart, Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Here's Elliot Anderson, put it through the centre and towards the path of Chris Wood. Couldn't quite get there with his back to goal, and it will fall back in towards the path of David Raya in the Arsenal goal. Here's Zubimendi, who got the goal scoring started for Arsenal this afternoon, in towards the path of Mosquera, inside his own penalty area. Miguel Marino back to goal, 25 yards. They've been put under pressure by Elliot Anderson, but manages to play the ball out towards the path of Gabriel. Gabriel plays it back to Raya. Raya to Mosquera again. Plays it out towards the right-hand side, where I think he was anticipating the Julian Timber run. It wasn't there, and so Forest win themselves a throw-in. Hudson-Odoi out towards the possession of Sungari, run back by Miguel Marino. Now Calafiori driving towards the halfway here for Arsenal, up against Elliot Anderson, who wins it back, and Doi on the right hand side skips past him. Did have a little bit of a tug for Calafiori, but still going, and Doi flicks it across. Was Chris Wood innocuously off his chest, hit the crossbar. It falls to Hudson-Odoi, who tried to be a little bit too clever inside the area, took a couple of touches. Mosquera came sliding in to win the ball back, and eventually held by Matt Sells in the Nottingham Forest goal. And now here come Arsenal at the other end. End-to-end stuff here. Ranieri out towards Madueke on the right side, edge of the penalty area. Madueke up against Nico Williams. Short towards Ranieri, turns back to goal, strikes it on his left foot, but it goes wide of the top left-hand corner by around about 2-3 yards. Forest with a big chance at one end, Arsenal nearly closing the game off at the other. It was Ndoi who drove past Calafiori on the right-hand side. Played the ball in right-footed towards Chris Wood, in around the penalty spot. Meat and drink area for him, but the ball into him came off his chest. An innocuous one for David Raya, came off the top of the crossbar, and that may well have been one of the flukiest goals that you would have seen in this Premier League season if that was to nestle its way towards the back of the net. But Arsenal preserving a clean sheet, which is something that they do as well as any side in this division. In terms of keeping clean sheets, Nottingham Forest on the other side of that scale. They are among current Premier League sides. Only Fulham with 12 on a longer run have had a clean sheet than Nottingham Forest with 11. Away from home, Forest have gone 9 without a shutout since keeping 3 in a row in December and January last season. It was at that point where the goals started to trickle in. The results began to head south for Nottingham Forest as a Champions League finish became what was originally a Conference League campaign, and of course the court rulings meant that they were bumped up to the Europa League this season. They do get themselves a free kick. Savona was trying to get clear of Calafiori. Calafiori stood in his way and then cynically brought him down to the ground. It's a free kick to Forest, right-hand side towards the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. There is games, of course, across the EFL Championship to keep you up to date on this afternoon. And there has been another goal in the game between Oxford United and Leicester. 2-2 in that one. Pereira scoring for the Foxes. In the other games, Charlton lead Millwall by a 1-0. And Middlesbrough, who had the only 100% record in the Football League going into this afternoon's matches, trail at Deepdale against Preston North End by a 0-0. Here's Elliot Anderson over the free kick for Nottingham Forest. Right hand side towards the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. 54 minutes on the clock here at the Emirates. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Elliot Anderson over the free kick, with just Eze in the wall for Arsenal. Swung in right-footed towards the back post, but it's too high for Savona and too heavy for Hudson-Odoi to try and connect to the second ball, and so we'll head out of play for an Arsenal throw on the right-hand side. Don't forget that we will have Premier League commentary for you at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Number of big games coming up for you. We'll have Bournemouth against Brighton, Crystal Palace against Sunderland, Everton take on Aston Villa. Fulham are up against Leeds United, and Newcastle United up against Wolves. The late games, West Ham United against Tottenham from 5:30, and Brentford against Chelsea from 8 o'clock. You can keep up to date with those games and listen to live commentary of those games, courtesy of the Flash Score Live audio commentary service on this Saturday afternoon. And don't forget as well, the World Athletics Championship is currently taking place, and you can keep up to date with all of the results by clicking the Athletics tab on the Flash Score app. You can download it via the Apple App Store, Google Play, wherever you get your apps from, and you can keep up to date with all the results from across the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo via that route, as Nottingham Forest went route 1 with a long ball over the top. Crossfield ball in towards the path of Ndoye, who was making a darting run in towards the penalty area, slipped as he entered the box. Not that it was really going to change the fact that the ball was going to trickle out of play for a Arsenal goal kick. Also busy afternoon, as I say, in the Championship. Last night, Ipswich put 5 past Sheffield United at Portman Road. A hat-trick from Jayden Philogene, strikes from George Hurst and Jack Clark. Seeing a comprehensive win for the Tractor Boys, leaving Sheffield United deep-rooted to the bottom of the Championship table. Meanwhile here, Madueke up against Nico Williams, and it was Williams who won it, but it was Madueke who managed to get the ball back second time. Zubimendi back in towards the path of Gabriel towards Calafiori, infield towards the path of Miguel Merino. Calafiori's got 2 up against him. Back heel from Eze towards Merino in space, plays it towards the area, and it was Ranieri was making the running towards the penalty area, struck it on his left foot, but his effort blazed over the bar. Another opening there for the Gunners. Calafiori with that ball in towards Eze, beautiful back heel on his right foot towards Miguel Merino, and then put that ball in, low drill on the side of his left foot towards when the area was making a run. He was left loose towards the edge of the penalty area, struck it left-footed through the side of his left foot, but he couldn't quite keep his effort down as far as launched the ball up the other end. It's going to be dealt with well, though, by Mosquera, with Hudson-Odoi close by to him. Plays it along the right-hand side and in towards the path of Huey and Timber. Ranieri switching it out towards Calafiori on the left-hand side. Brings it down well with his left foot of his first touch. Cross goes in, edge of the box. We're going to find Gyökeres at the back post. Flicked away by Nico Williams. One back loosely by Madueke. Inside the box he goes. 2 up against him. Madueke towards the dead ball line. Looks to hook it back, but it's going to be cleared away by Sangari with nobody in red close by. And Forest able just to calm things down a little bit as Arsenal push and probe for a third tier at the Emirates. It's Nico Williams on this left-hand side for Nottingham Forest. Back in towards the path of Elliot Anderson in the centre. Hudson-Odoi towards the halfway. Sangari towards Elliot Anderson once again for Ange Postecoglou's side. Morgan Gibbs White will play it in towards the possession of Sangari. Gibbs White again. Strange just beyond the halfway here for Arsenal. Back towards Ibrahim Sangari. Switches sides to find Milenkovic. Infield towards Chris Wood. And Ndoye, edge of the area. Savona has made a run on the right-hand side, but Ndoye gets a bidding of 2 inside the box. Shoved to the ground by Gabriel. Darren England waves his arm up in the air to say, get back on your feet. Appeals to a penalty, fall very quickly flat for Forest. Here's Eze for Arsenal. We're going to drive past Anderson on the halfway. Managed to play the ball forward towards Gyökeres. Eze moves in towards the centre. Gyökeres, projected infield. Edge of the penalty, 2 up against him. Out towards Madueke, right-hand side. Inside the box he goes. Madueke towards Gyökeres on the overlap, who strikes it on his right foot towards the near post and off the post. And now the play will go for Forest throw. And that a real opportunity for Arsenal to find a third. Neat play between Madueke and Gyökeres. Gyökeres made the overlapping one on the right-hand side as he fed in Eze. As Eze fed him in the centre. Struck the ball first time through the lace of his right foot. Strikes the top of the woodwork. And that really could have sealed the points for Mikel Arteta's side. And the look on his face, the head in the hands, tells you exactly that. Ange Postecoglou's going to roll the dice and make a couple of changes. Chris Wood's afternoon is going to come to an end. He's going to be replaced by Dylan Bakwa in the 60th minute, and we are also going to see the introduction of Willy Bolly with Forest in desperate need of goals. Callum Hudson-Odoi, sorry, it's not going to be, it's going to be Arnaud Kalimuendo who's going to come on. And it is Callum Hudson-Odoi who's going to come off in his place on the hour mark here in the Premier League on the Score live audio commentary service. It is a busy afternoon of Premier League action. We'll have every 3 o'clock commentary live for you as Arsenal push a pro for a third here. Eze, edge of the D, turns back to goal. Calafiori, cross goes in, but nobody there at the back post. It was a teasing ball in across the face of the penalty area, but unable to find anybody eventually. But Arsenal are looking very likely in this second half, looking really good in this game. Hour gone, Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0, and it would not surprise you if they had a third, fourth, maybe even more. Before this afternoon is out here at the Emirates Stadium. Forest, well, they need to find something, and they need to find something quickly here. They do win themselves a free kick just beyond the halfway, and the first yellow card of the afternoon is going to be dished out, and it's going to be dished out to Riccardo Calafiori, as just beyond the halfway swipes his right leg out, catches backward, and no surprise that he's the first player into Darren England's notebook this afternoon. Savona with the free kick, played back in towards the path of Milenkovic. Here's Morato in possession for Nottingham Forest. Looking to turn forward is Nico Williams, recovered well by Madueke for Arsenal. Here's Marino, being put under pressure by Elliot Anderson, out towards the path of Zubimendi. Sigari close by, out towards Madueke, heavy touch, ball goes out of play. Nottingham Forest throw on the half. Busy afternoon in the Championship, and not many goals in the second half to report. There could be another one to report here, because Arsenal stole the ball on the halfway. Marino looking for options. Everybody in front of him is in white. Here's Gyökeres on the left-hand side. Looking to play it back to Calafiori. Snuffed out by the substitute Bakwa towards the possession of Savona, who came on with 10 minutes to go in the first half, following an injury to Murillo. Arsenal regathered again on the halfway. This time Gabriel in possession to Zubimendi inside the centre circle, back in towards the path of Gabriel again. Gabriel plays it out towards the possession of Mosquera for Arsenal, who's on his own in the middle of his own half, may head back towards Raya, but manages to find the forward pass to Calafiori. Now here's Eze driving down this left-hand side for Arsenal, manages to get on the inside of Bakwa. Eze again here for the Gunners, switching sides, out towards Madueke. Brings it down on his left foot on the far side. Edge of the penalty area he goes. Madueke looking to put the cross in on his right foot from the right side. Came off of Williams, still in play. Here's Julian Timber. Timber out towards Madueke again for Arsenal. Cross goes in, left-footed. Flicked away and the near post by Milenkovic. Comes back out towards Gabriel. 25 yards out in the centre. Two up against him. Back to Calafiori. Calafiori towards the path of Zubimendi. Zubimendi now. Mosquera for Arsenal, out towards Madueke again. Plays it back in towards the possession of Christian Mosquera. Now Zubimendi, snuffed out by Anderson. Forest look to move their way forward. Sigari is brought down. A crunching challenge. Comes back onto his feet. No foul by Darren England, the referee. Marino towards the path of Zubimendi. Zubimendi towards Mosquera for Arsenal. Here's Zubimendi once more towards Julian Timber. Timber plays it out towards the path of Ebere Eze. Eze 25 yards out for goal, in field towards Timber. Sorry, that was Ranieri, my apologies. Eze, Marino towards Eze again. Arsenal now looking to push their way forward towards the edge of the penalty. Eze goes down towards the edge of the box. Arsenal with a free kick. It's not going to be given. And Elliot Anderson comes away with the ball for Nottingham Forest. Back to goal is Calamuendo for Nottingham Forest. Here's Milenkovic, the dependable solidity in that Nottingham Forest defence. Sangari out towards the path of Bakwa. Now here's Ndoye with Timber up against him. Calamuendo back to Ndoye. Elliot Anderson just beyond the halfway here for Nottingham Forest as we approach the final 25 minutes here at the Emirates. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0, the score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Here's Bakwa. Ball it goes in towards the path of Sangari. Looks to play the ball through towards Gibbs-White, who is taking on the number 9 role following the withdrawal of Chris Wood. Couldn't quite get there, and Arsenal now with space opening up for him. Timber out towards Madueke in acres of space. Nico Williams drops close by, but gets the better of him. Madueke inside the edge towards the dead ball line. Looks to hook it back towards Gyökeres. Comes off of Morato towards the near post. Arsenal corner out on the right-hand side. 25 minutes to go. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Martin Zubimendi's goal in the 31st minute gave the Gunners the lead before Victor Gyökeres, around about 37 seconds after the restart, doubled Arsenal's leads here at the Emirates. And it's going to be Noni Madueke to take this corner. Arsenal's 7th of the game in comparison to the 2 that Nottingham Forest have had so far here at the Emirates this afternoon. It's going to be Madueke to take. It's going to be an outswinging delivery on his left foot from the right-hand side. Madueke's outswinging towards the near post. Glanced on by Gyökeres. Still pinballing around the box. Sells had to get a fingertip to it to tip it over the bar. It's going to be another Arsenal corner, this time on the left-hand side. In fact, I think it's gone for a goal kick after a second inspection. We're going to have a look at that. Put again on our monitor. Gyökeres flicks it up. Does Sells get a hand to it? Well, that angle that we've been shown wasn't a great one. But goal kick was eventually the call that was given. Ball launched over the top for Forest. One back by Gabriel for Arsenal. It's going to be a throw-in to be taken by Bakwa. Lewis Skelly's going to be ready for Arsenal in a few moments' time. Here's Calamuendo. Strikes one on his right foot, edge of the box. Takes a deflection en route. It's going to be a Forest corner on this right-hand side. Last touch coming off of Gabriel. There's Lewis Skelly coming on in a couple of moments' time. But first things first, a corner for Arsenal to defend. It's going to be on the right-hand side. It's going to be backward to take. He's going to swing it in on his outswing on the left, on his left foot from the right-hand side. Towards the near post, glanced away by Gyökeres, who does his defensive duty for Arsenal. It's going to be a Forest throw, right side, adjacent towards the edge of the Arsenal 18-yard box. 67.5 gone, but before that, the sub is going to be made. It's going to be Calafiori, who's on a yellow card, who's going to come off. And coming on in his place is going to be Miles Lewis Skelly for Arsenal. The sub being made in the 68th minute of the contest, a game which Arsenal lead 2-0. A reminder of our 3 o'clock commentaries this afternoon from the Premier League. It's Bournemouth against Brighton, Palace, Sunderland, Everton, Villa, Fulham against Leeds, and Newcastle United against Wolves. The late game tonight, West Ham United against Tottenham, Brentford against Chelsea. Declan Rice has also come on and here for Arsenal. That was the second change, which caught us just a bit by surprise. So who's come off for in just a second. Throw-in comes in. Another play it goes. I'll tell you about goal in the Championship in just a second, and it's Victor Gyökeres, the goal scorer, that's been taken off for Declan Rice to see the job through in the final 21 or so minutes that remain here at the Emirates here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. So Gyökeres off, right on, and Calafiori off, Miles Lewis Skelly on for Mikel Arteta's men. Well, there has been an equaliser at Deepdale in the game between Preston North End and Middlesbrough. It's now Preston 1, Middlesbrough 1, and it's Matt Target on target to get Middlesbrough back level in that game. Updates from across the EFL this afternoon is available by downloading the Flash Score app, and you can get the goals first to your phone, plus red cards and all the other updates by downloading the app and clicking on the notification feature of your preferred game across the Championship or EFL's Leagues 1 or 2 throughout the course of the afternoon. Just over 20 minutes to go here at the Emirates. Arsenal leading Nottingham Forest by 2-0. Strikes either side of the break from Zubimendi and Gyökeres the difference. Forest going to get their way back into this one, and the teasing ball into the area by the substitute back row, which was headed away and around the 6-yard box by the Gunners, who managed to clear their lines eventually. Here's Mosquera in possession, being put under pressure by Calamoendo, and now here's Rice driving away on the half for Arsenal. Ships the ball out towards the left-hand side and towards Eze. 2 up against him, moves in field. Luiskeli making an underlapping run on the left, but decided to play it further in towards the centre and towards Marino. Snuffed out by Forest, who clear the ball away. It's going to be picked up loosely by Zubimendi on the half. Mosquera will send it back towards David Wire, who's looking to keep a clean sheet in what is his 100th Arsenal appearance. And if he does so, it would be clean sheet number 42 in those 100 appearances for the Gunners. And of course there was a bone of conjecture when he made the move to Arsenal, and Ramsdale having a solid season as Arsenal finished second in the league the year before. There was question marks over the signing, but after dropping Ramsdale early on, putting Raya in place, it was a move which Mikel Arteta came under some fire and criticism for, but a roll of the dice which has been rather fortuitous, and has certainly led to a bit more of a solidity in the Arsenal defensive structure over the course of the last couple of seasons, to the point where it was up top the questions marks were over, as opposed to the defence, which for so many years before was always the problem that plagued Arsenal. But up the other end, here's Madueke on the right hand side up against Nico Williams, edge of the penalty area, steps on the inside of him. Madueke still going, trinkle toes, plays it out towards the possession of Ivo Anieri, who looked to hook it across the penalty area. Rice came sliding in towards the back post, couldn't quite get there, and that was an opening for an Arsenal third. It was a good run, played across the box, couldn't quite find Rice, who was in the right place, just couldn't quite get a connection to the ball. That was a chance to really finish this game off once and for all for Arsenal. A reminder that the Champions League returns to the Flash Score Live audio commentary service this week. We'll be kicking off the show with Athletic Bilbao against Arsenal on Tuesday night. On Wednesday, we'll have Liverpool against Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich against Chelsea. And then on Thursday night, Newcastle United take on Barcelona and Manchester City take on Napoli. Those are our live games across the Flash Score Live audio commentary service on the first week of action in the Champions League in the 2025-2026 campaign. Meanwhile, in the Championship, there has been a red card, perhaps unsurprisingly, in the game between Charlton and Millwall. Kane Ramsey has been sent off for the Addicts. Still Charlton 1, Millwall 0 there, as far as prepare another couple of changes here at the Emirates. Ryan Yates is going to come on for Morgan Gibbs-White. Final couple of changes this for Nottingham Forest, and James McAtee is going to come on as well for the final 17.5 minutes, and it's going to be Ibrahim Sangari who is going to make way for him. So the final couple of changes to be made by Ange Postecoglou. This game in charge of Nottingham Forest, and it could well be back-to-back defeats here for Nottingham Forest and two different managers. Here's Eze, who looked to fire the ball here, and he thought someone was along that left-hand channel, wasn't, and so an easy take for Matt Sells in the Nottingham Forest goal as we tick past the 73rd minute here at the Emirates. It is Forest 0, Arsenal 2. As Darren England blows up for a foul on the halfway. And it is an Arsenal free kick, which is going to be taken by Gabriel, just off centre towards the left-hand side. It was Declan Rice and that was fouled for Arsenal. Played back towards the path of Mosquera, edge of his penalty area, out towards Zubimendi, who always looks forward as opposed to back, and manages to find Julian Timber in a more advanced role now for Arsenal. Up against Anderson, gets the better of him. Here's Noni Madueke towards Timber, making an underlapping run, but Morato's going to watch that go out of play and actually gets a touch on route, so it's going to be an Arsenal corner on this right hand side. Looked like Morato did enough to see the ball out of play, but obviously got a touch en route. And so a Nottingham Forest corner an Arsenal corner after Morato and Nottingham Forest gave the ball away on this right-hand side. 15.5 minutes to go. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Noni Madueke to take this corner for Mikel Arteta's side. Outswing on his left foot from the right-hand side towards the near post. Cleared away by Lewis Skelly. But foul on him as he got the ball. And it's going to be a Forest free kick as we approach the final quarter of an hour. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Martin Zubimendi with the opener after 31 minutes. A superb strike on the volley. And Victor Gyökeres seconds after the restart, getting the Arsenal second. Here's Onyemi out towards Madueke, who's been absolutely superb for Arsenal all afternoon. Best player on the pitch if I was to be given a casting vote as opposed to the player of the match. Out towards Eze it goes on this left-hand side for Arsenal. Skips past Savona. Eze, left-footed ball in towards the area. Cleared away by Nico Williams. Chested down by McAtee. It falls from Madueke. Turning back to goal. Looking to loft the ball over the top of Williams. But Anderson will get there inside the area for Forest. Cleared away out towards McAtee, who makes a run to the left-hand side. Looks to play the ball forward. Comes off Timber. Forest throw on the left. There's also games in EFL's Leagues 1 and 2 this afternoon. In League 1, Bradford City enjoying life back in the third tier, leading Huddersfield Town by 3-0. And at Sixfields, it's Northampton Town 0, Blackpool 0. Northampton 0, Blackpool 0. The score in that one. Here's Declan Rice for Arsenal, 30 yards out from goal. Eberechi Eze, left-hand side towards the edge of the penalty area. Play back towards Miles Lewis Skelly. Skelly to Eze. Miles Lewis Skelly again being put under pressure by McAtee. Here's Gabriel. Back to Lewis Skelly once more. A couple of games in League 2 as well this afternoon. Accrington 1, Colchester 0, and Crawley 1, Cheltenham 0. All those games heading towards the final 10 minutes or so in Leagues 1 and 2, where you can keep up to date with all the goals from across the 3 o'clock games by downloading the Flash Score app. It's available via the Apple App Store, Google Play, wherever you get your apps from. You can keep up to date with every single game across the EFL by downloading the app and keeping up to date with the goal notification service in the Championship. Final 10 minutes of the free 12:30 games. Charlton 1, Millwall 0, Oxford 2, Leicester 2, and Preston 1, Middlesbrough 1. Here's Madueke up against Williams. Gets a better in, then goes down to the ground on his right-hand side. Arsenal free kick, adjacent towards the 12-yard penalty spot, and perhaps unsurprisingly, Devon England brandishes a yellow card to Nico Williams. Sean Madueke to the ground. Right hand going into the chest of Madueke, knocking him off balance. Arsenal free kick and a yellow card for the Nottingham Forest man who started as right back, is shifted to left back because of the injury towards Murillo midway through the first half. Arsenal make their final 2 changes. Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard's going to come on. And a standing ovation for, I'd say, Arsenal's best player this afternoon, Noni Madueke, who has put in a real shift in that right wing position. He is going to depart to be replaced by Noni Madueke. And we're going to see Eberechi Eze come off. And to provide some more pace down either side, Leandro Trossard's going to come on to see out the remaining 11.5 minutes here at the Emirates Stadium, where it is Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0, and Arsenal have a free kick which is swung back towards Declan Rice, edge of the area. Here's Trossard, first touch is across the ball into the back post, glassed off, 3-0, and it's a second goal for Martin Zubimendi, who headed the ball from the best part of 6 yards out, glanced it to the top right hand corner, and that will be the 3 points seal quite nicely for Arsenal. Arsenal 3, Forest 0, with just over 10 minutes to go, and Martin Zubimendi with his second of the afternoon. For Ange Postecoglou, the rain pours down on him. His first game in charge of Nottingham Forest is going to end in defeat. Free kick from the area back towards Declan Rice, and then Leandro Trossard, edge of the area, swung the ball in right-footed towards the 6-yard box, where Martin Zubimendi glanced his header on, getting the beating of Nico Williams, in towards the top right-hand corner. And Arsenal will temporarily move to the top of the Premier League table on goals difference of Liverpool. Mikel Arteta, a very pleased man in the Arsenal dugout, so he should be, as Martin Zubimendi, one of his summer signings, gets on to the score sheet. Arsenal 3, Nottingham Forest 0. A comprehensive job well done by Mikel Arteta's side as we enter the final 10 minutes here at the Emirates Stadium, with the points very much safely intact for Mikel Arteta's team. For Forest, well, it's going to be to the League Cup into Swansea City on Tuesday, and then a trip to Turf Moor before the European event gets underway against Real Betis as Bakura launches the ball into the penalty area, cleared away by Arsenal. They will win it back on the halfway of Elliot-Anderson, who's been their best player on the pitch, and I don't think there's any kind of argument about that this afternoon. Milenkovic will play it back towards the path of Morato. Morato towards the possession of Ryan Yates. Yates towards the path of Kalimuendo. Here's Elliot-Anderson in possession here for Nottingham Forest. Inside the centre circle, plays it back towards the path of Ryan Yates again. Yates out towards Milenkovic, strays just beyond the halfway in towards the possession of Bakura, right hand side. Inside the box he goes, gets the better of Leandro Trossard, but couldn't get the beating of Lewis Skelly. Cleared away by Gabriel inside his own 6-yard box towards the halfway, where it's going to be picked up by Morato, and everybody perhaps unsurprisingly hands to the pump for Arsenal. There has been a flurry of goals across Leagues 1 and 2, we'll tell you about in a second. In fact, we'll do it now for you. Crawley 2-0 up on Cheltenham. Northampton lead Blackpool 1-0, and Huddersfield have pulled a goal back against Bradford. 3-1 there at Valley Parades. League 1 and 2 goals to your phone straight away for the goal notification app. Here's McAtee, edge of the D, moving on the inside, brought down by Gabriel, fair in the eyes of the referee. Arsenal move the ball back towards the halfway, and here's Martinelli in space, driving down this right-hand side here for Arsenal. The only player managing to get back for Forest is Ndoye. Now a few more managed to get themselves back into position. Timber towards Rice. Rice out to Leandro Trossard, left-hand side towards the edge of the area. Of course, goes in right-footed. Martinelli slips as that ball went in. Ndoye shoves him off the ball, and as a consequence, he will win a goal kick for Nottingham Forest. 7.5 to go. Arsenal 3, Nottingham Forest 0. A reminder of what is a busy afternoon across Flash Score in the Premier League and Championship. In the Premier League this afternoon, in the 3 o'clock matches, it's Bournemouth, Brighton, Palace, Sunderland, Everton, Villa, Fulham, Leeds and Newcastle against Wolves. Busy afternoon in the Championship as well. Number of 3 o'clock kickoffs there. Coventry against Norwich, Sheffield Wednesday, Bristol City, Stoke, Birmingham, Swansea, Hull, Watford against Blackburn, West Brom against Derby County, and Wrexham take on Queen's Park Rangers. Goal updates on those games in our 3 o'clock commentaries this afternoon, and you can keep updated with all the goals by downloading the Flash Score app on this Saturday afternoon. Here's Nico Williams for Forest, winning the ball back on the halfway, out towards Ndoye on this left-hand side, up against Mosquera, gets a beating of him, flashes the ball across the face of the air, finds no one. He'll be won loosely by Baku on this right-hand side for Forest. Play back in towards the possession of Savona. Now back towards the halfway and to Morato for Nottingham Forest. Here's Milenkovic in possession. 6.5 to go. Arsenal 3, Nottingham Forest 0 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Milenkovic again will play it back in towards the possession of Matt Sells between the sticks of Nottingham Forest. Launches it forward, right-footed beyond the halfway. Glanced on by Kalimuendo, who's being stood up by Lewis Skelly, and the ball head back in towards the arms of David Raya in the Arsenal goal. Here's Declan Rice back towards the possession of Gabriel again. Rice back to the Arsenal number 6. We'll take you to the Valley in just a second, but first things first, let's see what Arsenal could do with this attack. Ranieri snuffed out, but one back quickly on this right hand side. It was Ndoye who initially stopped him in his tracks, but along this right hand side it goes. Leandro Trossard moving the ball forward, but shoved to the ground. Before that was Timber. with a couple of the Arsenal wounded watching on and probably happy what they've seen from their teammates. William Saliba and Bukayo Saka watching on in the rather posh seats, it should be said, at the Emirates Stadium this afternoon. Nice, they'll be disappointed not to be out there. I think they'll be happy with what they've seen from their teammates this afternoon. Arsenal closing in on top spot in the Premier League once again, leading by 3-0 here against Nottingham Forest as we enter the final 5 minutes of the 90 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Whilst Lewis Skelly brought down to the ground. Arsenal free kick. Well, a couple of goals to update you on. Charlton have equalised against Millwall. Bangura Williams in the 88th minute with the goal there for Charlton. And Preston North End against Middlesbrough lead by 2-1. Jordan Storey late on in that game in the 88th minute may have won it for the home side. Middlesbrough with the final 100% record across the Football League this season. That may well be coming to an end as Preston move themselves 2-1 in front in that game. 7 EFL games from 3 o'clock in the Championship, and you can keep up to date with them here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. But here, Arsenal doing a job well done. 3-0 to the good, final 4 minutes of the 90. 2 goals from Martin Zubimendi, one in the 31st minute, perhaps one of the goals of the day. One to certainly look out for, match of the day tonight. A volley from the edge of the 18-yard box, struck sweetly on his right foot into the roof of the net. Victor Gyökeres, around about 30 seconds after the restart. It was a long ball forward from Calafiori in towards the path of Ebrete Eze on the left-hand side, and then play the ball along the floor inside the box. Gyökeres tapped home from close range. As Arsenal look for a fourth here, ball goes in towards the area. Leandro Trossard couldn't quite get there first time, but will pick up on it loosely on a second occasion. Gets a bit of a backward up against it towards the dead ball line as Trossard, but Nottingham Forest managed to clear their lines with backward. Forward it goes towards the path of Anderson. Now here's McAtee beyond the halfway in the centre. Gets a beating of Julian Timber. And to the left-hand side it goes, and towards Calamuendo. Edge of the box, 2 up against him. Inside the box he goes now. Looks to drift on the inside of Timber. Was unable to do so. We'll play it back towards Nico Williams again. Here's Milenkovic for Nottingham Forest. Final 2.5 minutes of normal time here. Arsenal 3, Nottingham Forest 0. The score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Play back in towards the path of McAtee again for Nottingham Forest. Now here's Elliot Anderson in possession in the centre. Drifted out to the right-hand side and towards the path of Bakwa. Anderson with 2 up against towards the edge of the box. Rice managing to get a touch to it. Cleared away towards the possession of Marino. Anderson leaving a hand out, conceding a free kick to Arsenal. That goal for Preston was scored by Jordan Storey, heading in from Ben Whiteman's delivery to send Deepdale into delirium. Preston 2, Middlesbrough 1 in the other games in the Championship this afternoon at 12:30. Charlton 1, Millwall 1, Charlton down to 10 in that one as we enter stoppage time. Oxford United 2, Leicester 2, Leicester down to 10 as we enter stoppage time in that one. And we are going to head to Deepdale in a few moments' time, because it looks like something's about to happen in the game between Preston and Middlesbrough as we enter the final 90 seconds or so here. Martin Zubimendi has picked up the Premier League player of the match this afternoon at the Emirates for his performance. Scored 2 goals, including a superb opener. And Middlesbrough have equalised against Preston 2-2 as they enter the 4th minute of stoppage time at Deepdale. We'll tell you more about that goal in just a second as we enter the final minute of normal time here, and those September showers have come and gone. The sun back out here at the Emirates, and all of a sudden it's turned into a beautiful mid-September afternoon here in North London, and it's going to be a result which is certainly going to put smiles on faces of Gunners fans everywhere. They lead Forest 3-0, and not just the scoreline but the performance as well has been absolutely first class from Mikel Arteta's side, They're looking to put a seal on it here. Onieri with a cross in towards the back post, but Declan Rice was never going to be able to get to it too high. The crossing on the left foot of the young talent. And as I say, Middlesbrough have levelled up in the 2nd minute of stoppage time. Hansen with the strike. Preston 2, Middlesbrough 2. The scoreline in that one. And they're into 7 minutes of stoppage time at Deepdale. We'll tell you more about that goal as soon as we get it here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary. So it has finished at the Kazan Stadium. Oxford United 2, Leicester City 2. So drop points there for Leicester City in that one as we enter 4 minutes of stoppage time here at the Emirates. Arsenal 3, Nottingham Forest 0. And Arsenal this afternoon have quite simply been too good for their opponents. 2 goals from Martin Zubimendi. The third goal, the second one from him, shall I say, came from a set piece on the area towards Rice. Rice on the edge of the penalty, played it in towards the path for Trossard. Moved from the left side, edge of the area, swung the ball in right-footed towards the 6-yard box where Zubimendi glanced it on into the top right-hand corner. Here's Rice, out towards Trossard, in space, inside the area, Trossard just on the inside, hauled to the ground, no penalty in the eyes of the referee. It was Milenkovic, I think, who stood Trossard up, and Forest managed to eventually clear their lines. Milenkovic out in towards the path of Morato. Now turning inside the area is Calamorendo for Forest. Turning past 2 towards the dead ball line he goes. Flicks it across. Cleared away by Arsenal. They're looking to preserve another clean sheet here at the Emirates this afternoon as we enter the final 2.5 minutes of stoppage time. It has finished at the Valley. Charlton Athletic 1, Millwall 1. So honours even in the London derby there this afternoon as Ange Postecoglou looks on in the Nottingham Forest technical area. Not the start to life in the Forest dugout that he would have envisaged. A League Cup tie to come in the week, and then next Thursday they get their Europa League campaign underway against Real Betis. You can listen to that game here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. That is next Thursday, live across the Flash Score app. Arsenal now, perhaps unsurprisingly, just playing a game of keep ball and just seeing this game through. Raya short in towards the path of Zubimendi. Zubimendi towards Mosquera. Zubimendi again inside his own half. Loses out. Forest do win it back. McAtee towards Elliot Anderson. Anderson left side edge of the area towards Calamorendo. Calamorendo turning past Mosquera. Being forced back. Here's Ryan Yates who's going to... sorry, that was Nico Williams who struck one, shall I say. Here's Milenkovic. Play back towards Morato. One back by Trossard. Chested down by Mikel Merino for Arsenal. Launched out towards the right-hand side and in towards the path of Martinelli. Inside the box. Gets there for the Gunners. Gets the beating of Morato. Looked to play it back towards Rice. And then Trossard was keeping himself interested. But Matt Sells eventually holds in the Nottingham Forest goal as we enter the final 50 seconds of normal time. Tell you more about that goal between Preston and Middlesbrough. Borough level, a right old mess, but the travelling fans don't care. There was a ball into the middle which caused chaos, and the ball is eventually bundled just over the line by Sancho Janssen, possibly even Alan Brown. Either way, a goal is a goal for them. Preston 2, Middlesbrough 2, and they're into the final minutes of stoppage time in that one at Deepdale in the Championship. We're into the final 20 seconds of stoppage time here, and Forest cheaply give the ball away again. Here's Declan Rice in possession for us against the beating of Anderson. Edge of the area, Declan Rice looks to play it in towards the path of Onieri. Unable to get there, and so Forest will clear their lines. Out it will go towards the right-hand side and towards Calamorendo, who drives in space towards the penalty area. He goes. Calamorendo strikes it on his right foot, comes off of Gabriel. Forest will have a late corner here on the right-hand side if there is time for it as we pass the 4 minutes of second half stoppage time here at the Emirates. And that is the full-time whistle, and that's a first-rate, first-class performance from Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. 3 goals, 3 points, and temporarily back to the top of the Premier League table. They get the better of Nottingham Forest by 3-0. As Postecoglou's first game in charge of Nottingham Forest couldn't have really got much worse. 2 goals from Martin Zubimendi. The first, an absolute corker just beyond the half-hour mark. A volley from the edge of the D in towards the roof of the net. It was 1-0 at the break, but Arsenal got going straight after the restart. Victor Gyökeres, within a minute of the restart, doubling Arsenal's lead from across into the box of Eze. And then the third, and the gloss on the scoreline capped off by Zubimendi, getting his